Welcome to your epic pursuit. I'm Mike Mooney. I'm so glad you're here. This is a space where we get to dive into inspiring and real conversations with people to explore their journeys of leadership and performance. And we're going to do that through the lens of epic, of excellence, presence, intentionality, and curiosity. And as you know, our goal here is really simple. We want to empower you and equip you with ideas, insights, tools, stories, frameworks that are going to help accelerate your journey of performance as well. So I'm super excited today. We've got a great guest, Cindy Sisson, who is the executive director of the Women in Motorsports North America, a longtime friend of mine through years within sports, motorsports in particular. But Cindy, it's so great to have you here. Thank you for making time.
Wow, Mike, thank you. It's such an honor. And to your point, we've been friends a long time, so it's really fun to be a part of your journey here.
Well, I appreciate that. You've been I'd say an early adopter for my work and a huge supporter over the years, and I've always been so grateful for that. I truly have. Now, your career though, and as we've kind of connected and followed along, I mean, you've been involved in agencies and well, sports in general, but agencies and on the corporate side, organizing committees. I mean, I hesitate to say you've seen it all, but you have seen so much within sports, and I can't think of a better place for you to be and have helped develop than WIMNA right now in your role as executive director. And you all have been building such incredible momentum over the last several years for women in motorsports. And I'm just would love to hear kind of like what's going on right now. You're coming out of your last event was a little while back, right? Your big one. What's happening now for the association?
Sure, sure. So what you're referring to is the Women with Drive Summit. And I love to point out, and we'll talk about a little bit more later, that you've actually been one of our keynote speakers and got a very high grade. So
Thank you for that.
that was very, very cool. What the year is about is our biggest event is the Women with Drive conference, but I just literally got off the phone with something very exciting. Pikes Peak is in its 106th year
Hmm.
this year, right? And there's only been one woman who has won that race in this many years, and her name is Michelle Mouton. And Michelle was a rally racer. She won in 1984. And this year she's being inducted into the Pikes Peaks Hall of Fame. So we have been asked to curate an opportunity where we'll create a panel discussion and we'll have Michelle Mouton, we'll have Lonnie Answer, we'll have Amelia Hartford. If you don't know her, you might want to Google her. She's a key influencer in the motorsports area.
Wow.
Tracy Gaudu, she's my age, 65.
Oh,
And
say young,
that,
still at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, she's at Medicare just like me now. But she, this is her first time at 65 in a Corvette. It's only the third Corvette ever to race. And then we'll have Lynn St. James moderating the panel.
Great.
And Lynn has also been selected as the Grand Marshal for this year's event. So
That is
we're really excited about this opportunity. There's other women racing. Last year was the largest number of women, 6 women. And I think are either at that or a little higher. Literally, like I said, just got off the phone. But another example would be last weekend, I was in Miami at the Formula E race, and the FIA has a program called Girls on Track.
mhm.
And the goal is to get 120 12 to 18-year-olds out for an immersive day in racing so they can see the many different career opportunities.
Yeah.
So just finished that. And then I've got 3 more coming up with college age women at Laguna Seca, VIR, and CODA for the rest of the year. So these events going on in addition to what I'm doing with the Women Who Drive Summit.
Amazing, amazing. You know what I've loved about and there's no you hear that and it's like no question why there's momentum that's building in and around the sport because of the activity that's happening. And I think it's not just recognizing and honoring those trailblazers as you were mentioning, and you've also helped on documentaries, award-winning documentaries on some of these pioneering women behind the wheel, but it's also showcasing the opportunities of today and where those roles could be. And that was the thing that stood out to me, when you were gracious enough to invite me in for a keynote a couple of years ago, was just seeing that it wasn't just about the drivers. And typically people think, oh, because that's the most visible place, so you think
Right.
drivers, but you really were opening up lanes, and it was with some of the big sponsors that you've had in there as well, and those leaders coming in and opening up just the lanes for so many young women to see where they could fit within motorsports, which I think is so amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. It just almost every day I'm getting an email from a young woman that was at either our summit or,
Mhm.
at one of the events. Like I said last week when I was at the Formula E, there were two young ladies there. One goes to Miami, not University of Miami, Miami University,
Right.
and the other one goes to USC, so South Carolina, sorry,
The other
on the other
USC.
side of the other USC. And it being a SoCal girl, I always have that
I know
one.
where your heart is. I know,
Yeah.
I know.
But there was 2 volunteers there. Both of those volunteers came to our summit. They, raised their hand on their own money, flew down to Miami, and I just learned one of them is gonna be a intern at Pikes Peak, and one of them is gonna be an intern at Laguna Seca this summer. All because of the networking that we're providing. You see behind me, this is about 400, men and women who attend the summit.
Yeah.
This is our breakfast. The summit didn't start till about noon, and we had 200 more people in addition to this. So we had 620 people at our last summit, and we're
That's phenomenal.
anticipating 700 this year. So
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting.
You and Lynn, the entire board, the workers, Tino, we've talked about this. The people who were like helping to build are just phenomenal, with this. So let's jump into a couple questions on your journey with leadership and your experiences. 'Cause I really think that's where we learn most, from each other and the stories, and not so much from the theories and textbooks. So if you could go back and think about a decision that you made, it could be a bold decision, something maybe that you questioned or others questioned. I don't know if this is really a good idea, but you felt in your gut, no, this is the right direction we should go in. I'm curious, like what that was, and then what was the impact? How did that change maybe your leadership style, or impact the organization? And if it was tied to a group, because I mean you've done things on your own as an entrepreneur, as well as with organizations. So I'm kind of leaving it open for you to answer.
Well, is that 2 questions or 3 questions
Well,
there,
oh
Mike?
gosh, it's one question. What was the bold decision that you made that others, or maybe even yourself, were like, "Oof, I don't know if this is the right direction to go," but you felt like it was the right way?
Yeah,
How did it play out? So I guess there's two questions, and then how did that help you from a leadership perspective?
yeah. So, I'll try to keep it short, but there was this thing we all experienced called COVID. And it was a pretty tough time. Pre-COVID, I was really at the top of my game. I had several clients that hired me as the super connector. So they
That's
paid me a monthly
which you
fee,
are. Yep.
yeah, to connect them. Well, it was January 31st. I flew to Los Angeles to celebrate my son's 21st birthday. And all of a sudden, my mom got really sick. And it turned out she had gangrene. They amputated her leg the day COVID hit. And so I ended up staying in Los Angeles that whole year, never came back to North Carolina, lost all my clients. And like, what am I going to do? So there's this woman named Lynn St. James who had been in a car accident who called me one day and she goes, I need some wine. She goes, but I can't drive the car. Do you know anybody that owns a winery? Uh, Give them a call and have them send me some wine. And you're going to love this because you have a bottle of that wine sitting on your shelf back there.
Uh-huh.
So I created a series of virtuals, invited celebrities, Jay Leno and others. And when we did the sign up, they would buy the wine, the racing series wine, and then they would attend these virtuals. Well, was doing a lot with the PCA, Porsche Club of America, and I really wanted to work with Ferrari. So I LinkedIn, my favorite tool in the whole wide world,
Yeah.
trying to find out who's running the Ferrari Club of America. Found this gal. Her name's Teresa. It was a Sunday. She responded immediately. And we talked on Monday. And the first thing she says to me is, "Oh, I know why you want to talk to me. You want access to the Ferrari Club, but I just quit today." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh.
So I asked her, "Well, what are you going to do when you grow up?" And she says, "I want to be an advocate for women in automotive." I said, "What?" And 4 years ago, I had written a business plan and pitched it to a insurance company, and we'll just go with that,
Mhm.
to do that, to become an advocate of women in the automotive space. And so we created GS Events. Get it?
Yeah.
Events
Uh,
during COVID. Well, that didn't work out very well, right? So we created a series of podcasts called Women Shifting Gears
Mhm.
and a series of virtuals. And, back then Zoom was really cool. I mean, we'd have hundreds of people signing up for these events, mostly ladies. Had some guys come in, and we invite guys. We like guys too, and some real crazy ones. But we ended up doing these virtuals and podcasts with Amanda Busick as our host,
Yeah.
and it just really took off. So the bold decision was we're onto something here. And I got a call from Matt Cruz, who at the time was just founded the Music City Grand Prix, the IndyCar race. "Cindy, I know you're creative. I know you love motorsports. Nobody really does anything for women in motorsports. Think big." Okay. Well, at the time I was doing my virtuals and podcasts. So I decided, what do we, 4 months leading into the race, marry country music singers with female race car drivers, one a month, and then do something like a summit, an event, a gathering, because
Right.
we're now at the end of COVID. So I pitched the idea to several friends, and they said, "Are you crazy? You don't have any money. You don't have sponsors."
Yeah.
I said, "I know, but I have a credit card." Well, you can't see the credit card, but I have
Mhm.
an AmeriExpress card, and I'm going to take the risk. So
Wow.
ended up renting a honky tonk bar downtown Main Street of Nashville. Hoped a couple of people would show up. We sold it out with 110 people, and said, "You know what? We're on to something." And that's the same year that Beth Peretta
Mhm.
had the almost all women's IndyCar team.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
remember that.
so Lynn was at the race. She's on the grid starting the race. And Lynn, started crying and said, "Finally, after all this work I've done to advocate for women in motorsports, I finally don't feel like I'm alone." And so that was the genesis of the two of them co-founding Women in Motorsports North America. And no regrets, no looking back, just a lot of excitement and a lot of opportunities for a lot of people. And we're not trying to change motorsports. We're just trying to grow it
Right.
with 52% of the population.
Mm. Mm. I love that. I mean, just the, listen, one of the hallmarks of your career, from what I've always observed, wa is persistence. I think if someone was to say, "How are you gonna do it?" Your first instinct is not, "Oh, no, you're right. How am I gonna do it?" You're like, "No, I can do it. I just haven't figured it out yet, and we're gonna get there," you know? And I think this is just a great example from in terms of leadership as well. There are gonna be times, right, where you may not have the answer. You have a couple of resources, but you're getting these signals. You're picking up on signs, right? As I'm hearing that there were a number of little touch points where it was kind of guiding you in the right direction. It was just a matter of you saying, "Yeah, this is what we've got to do," and you stepped out
Well,
and you did that.
that's God that
Yeah,
takes me. I'm sorry, but
yeah, go-
I'm going to wear him on my sleeve because
yep,
I feel so blessed every single day. I mean, yeah, have there been challenges? Of course there are. Life wouldn't be, you wouldn't grow if you didn't have the challenges. But
yeah,
I've just been really blessed in my career. And ironically, in 1991, I was working with the Ladies Professional Golf Association,
hmm,
and the golf industry had the same challenges as motorsports. Women were not, really taken seriously in the golf industry. So in 1991, I decided to create a summit. Oh, novel idea. and to teach the golf industry on the economic value of the women golfer. We had 3 of those, and it changed the way the golf industry marketed to women, which was the fastest growing area of their sport. And so I'm hoping through our efforts, but which I'm seeing tremendous success moving forward.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt. And again, it's that passion, it's that persistence, and staying with the mission, with that vision, and I don't mind just saying, that wearing God on your sleeve. That is all good. I love that. What did we call it before? God winks, when you got all those things that are kind of coming at you, right? So
A coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous,
there you
but
go.
that's by Albert Einstein, just so you know, I didn't make that one up.
Oh, I was gonna say it was you. Okay, well,
No.
I'll give that to him.
It's
So
one of my
so
favorites.
let's stay on this trail here, or track. It might be better said. Um, was there a time when maybe it was you in your own business, maybe it was with a team, but maybe you kind of hit a wall, and persistence wasn't going to be enough, right? Or the resources weren't there, whatever it might be. But you hit this wall, um, and you took an approach, and maybe it was a little bit different than what others may have expected, but it worked out. I'm curious if you ever had one of those experiences.
Well, I think it's kind of what I shared at the beginning. The wall for me was creating an events company and not being able
Yeah,
to do events. So I had to
yeah,
shift gears, if you will, and
yeah.
create this whole movement called Women Shifting Gears. So
Hmm.
that was a real, you know, not slap in the face or anything like that, but you had to do what you had to do. And that
Yeah,
was, we pivoted very, very quickly.
yeah.
I don't know how much time we have, but I have one other little event in my life.
Please.
I live in Mooresville, North Carolina, and I used to work for the Peterson Museum in Los Angeles. And for 3 years, every 2 weeks, I was flying back and forth to LA. And one of my first quote unquote days on the job, I was told that I was a development officer. I needed to go find money for what's called the vault. And the vault is the whole downstairs, like 3 city blocks
Hmm.
that was just a storage warehouse. And I need to go find the money. So there's a company called Haggerty. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to go pitch Haggerty." I didn't know anybody at Haggerty, but I happened to meet the founder of Haggerty and the head of their business development at the Pebble Beach Concours. And I shared this vision. And the guy who was in the development side said, "It's funny you would bring this up because my boss, who's the owner, is telling me we need to do something with the Peterson." So everybody told me it wouldn't happen. Everybody told me, "Don't even go down that road."
Yeah.
And I love it when people tell me no, because then I'm gonna go down that road.
Hmm.
And it took about 2 years, got it done. It was a multi-year, seven-figure, opportunity. It changed the Peterson, innovated the vault. It's one of the most popular destinations, I would say, in the car industry right now.
Yeah.
So that would be a situation where kinda hit the wall. No one wanted me to do it, but I did it anyway, and I succeeded.
And you did. And Peterson, I mean, if anyone has the opportunity to get out and visit, it's absolutely amazing. Like,
Yeah.
if you have the opportunity to do it, for sure. All right, so last question, and this kind of gets back to leadership, more so for you and principles and how you approach it. Is there a leadership principle that you've really leaned into over the years that just continues to serve you and serve you and serve you well?
Yeah. Um,
What is that? What is that?
it's the art of saying thank you. So, over the
Uh,
years,
I,
the
I I love.
last
Can I just say I love how you position it's the art of, because it is an art
it
to
is an
do it
art.
right. To
You
do
have
it
to be
right.
sincere, right?
Yes, I love it. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Tell us
with a
more.
summit what's that?
Tell
Yeah.
us more. Yeah.
So with the summit, we've had well over 1,200, 1,300 ladies and men who have attended.
Mhm.
And I'm a bit of a control freak. So every time somebody signs up, I get the, prompt, Mike Mooney just signed up.
Mm.
So if Mike Mooney signed up, I would take the time to write him a thank you note. How did you hear about us? How may we serve you?
Yeah.
What do you expect to get out of the summit?
Mm.
And if I didn't know the person, I would LinkedIn them. I'm a voracious believer in LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And some of my coworkers challenged me and said, "Why are you wasting your time doing that?" And I'm emphatic that if somebody's going to invest in my beliefs and my dreams,
Yeah.
I'm going to invest back in them, and it has come back to me a thousandfold of
Mhm.
every person, every touch point. Somehow, some way, I've made a difference in somebody's life just by caring enough to send them a thank you note.
Without a doubt, and we're I think that there are the emails are phenomenal because people will get them. Handwritten notes are gold as well when people have the chance to do that. A phone call, even I've done this before. Shoot a quick little 30-second video just to say thank you and text it to them or something. But the fact that you're taking time to recognize people is for leaders is powerful because that's the I in epic is for intentionality, right? And the fact that if we be more intentional with our words and our actions, we can actually change the outcomes of experiences and for not just others, for ourselves, right? For all those around us. So a thank you like that, when you think about people, like our two greatest resources, in my opinion, is time, right, and energy. And if they're going to invest both of those in your event, my goodness, yeah, invest that back with a thank
Yeah.
you. I think that's phenomenal. I think it's
Yeah, and
phenomenal.
I love to write thank you notes.
Yeah.
A cute little story of why, I love to do calligraphy, fancy writing.
Really? I didn't know
Yes,
that about you. Okay.
that that's like a therapy for me. So, I used to
So
be a
cool.
stockbroker in the olden days with a company called E.F. Hutton, and every Tuesday night, we'd be cold calling, "Hi, this is Cindy Sisson with E.F. Hutton. Have I got a deal for you?"
Oh, sh-
I would, you know, "Can I send you something?" Because back then, we didn't have emails and this
yeah.
computer stuff and all that.
Yeah.
So I would put a little package and I would do this beautiful calligraphy, and then I would call them, "Hi, this is Cindy. Did you get my package?" "Oh, yeah, it's sitting right here. We couldn't throw it away. Your calligraphy was so beautiful." So,
Right.
that's maybe a little trick in the toolbox is
I love it.
even when you're sending something, put a sticker on it or just do something a little bit different,
Yeah.
because the intentionality of being different, the folks will keep it. And Mike, as you know, we've used my title, and I've said this on a couple of podcasts, and maybe people are hearing sick of hearing me saying it, but my claim to fame being my bathroom wall.
I was going to ask you. I mean, listen. I mean, you are without a doubt, and I'm dating myself. We talk about a Rolodex, right? Someone whose Rolodex is just like unbelievable. Yours as a super connector is outrageous over the years. Just the way that you connect with people and stay in contact. But I was going to ask you to share a little bit about your bathroom. So this is great. I love
Well, one moment, please. No, I'm just
it.
kidding. So, I had this vision. I get these visions, and I get obsessed with them. So that I had all these business cards. And again, back then we didn't have the Googles and the Apple
Yeah.
calendars and all that stuff. So the best way I could figure out how to keep in touch with people and the easiest way to find their card is to wallpaper them on my bathroom. So I had over 4,000 business cards, and everybody above the toilet I like, and everybody below not so much. And so I still share that story, and I can't tell you how many buckets I have of business cards, buckets and buckets. And so I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with all those. But what I love about the buckets of business cards is everyone I have touched, every person, and we're talking big buckets like this.
Yeah.
So, and if anybody has any ideas, I'm all ears.
Please drop them in the comments if you have some ideas of what Cindy should do with her buckets of business cards. But I'm going to add that as another point because what I love about this conversation is truly in this epic model, right, of excellence, presence, intentionality, curiosity, of your stories of persistence, right? The idea of I need to and to me, that's a sign of excellence, right? Persistence
Mm.
is a sign of excellence. I'm staying in this race. You talk about being willing to shift, that curiosity of like, okay, so where can this take us? I'm looking at the situation. I know that it's going to force me, right? In this case, it did to have to evolve. So, what could that look like, And the way that you adopted virtual so quickly, and then integrated, the wine tastings and the podcasts and all these elements, and then the art of saying thank you, right? That intentionality, that presence, that you want to take that time to show the respect back to those who are engaging and connecting with you. That ties to the last thought of what you just said, that in those buckets, you've touched the lives of all the people. I want to be careful how I phrase what you said. I've touched all of them.
Mhm.
I want to be
Oh,
mindful and
oh,
not
oh, oh,
inappropriate. But you've touched the
nice try,
lives,
Mike.
right? You've touched the lives of so many people, which I truly think is another, milestone point of life, right? What is the impact that we've made? And knowing that we have the opportunity to influence what that impact could be and how we show up, And that's
Yeah,
something that you've done consistently. So, thank you
I
so much.
try.
No, no, you are. Thank you so much. I mean, this has been a great conversation. For the folks listening in, I hope you've enjoyed it too. We have some good laughs, a couple walks down the line, but I gotta continue to thank you, Cindy, for your friendship, but also what you're doing within motorsports for this mission and movement, to make motorsports more accessible, more engaging, more relevant to not only this new generation that's coming up, the ones who were in it, but also recognizing and paying tribute to those who were pioneers along the way. So
Oh,
it's just been awesome to have you here, folks. I hope you enjoyed this as well. Please drop your comments, your thoughts down below. We'd love to hear it. And then we'll see you on the next episode of Your Epic Pursuit. Cindy, thanks again.
thank you. What a fun time with you, Mike.
Cheers, everyone.